warm welcome to this very special episode of the Newshour tonight. And joining me tonight is historian Vikram Sampath, who stirred several hornets' nests in the past. And this time, he's back with a new book, Waiting for Shiva, the Gyanvapi Truth. Vikram Sampath, what drove you to write this book in the first place? Let me just begin at the beginning. You've spoken to Hari Shankar Jain, you've spoken to Vishnu Shankar Jain, and those conversations are something that you mentioned in the book. Did it deeply move you to study the historical context, and what really did you find?
Thank you, Navika. It's so wonderful to finally be, meeting you in person and having this interview instead of those Zoom, windows. I was actually neck deep into another project. I was writing a very controversial biography of Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan, which was to come out by the middle of this year. But Shiva overtook somehow. It was in a literature festival at Pondicherry that I just happened to meet Vishnu Shankar Jain, and what a passionate man he is about the cause. And casually over dinner, he was explaining to me the various contours of this case, showing me those maps, James Princeps lithographs of the Ashtamandap, Vishwanath Mandir, which Aurangzeb had destroyed. And there was, along with passion, I think there was a lot of pathos also in his eyes and voice, that unlike Ayodhya, which I think became a mass movement and it went into people's consciousness, though Kashi, Mathura, and particularly the Gyanvapi case, we keep hearing about it in news channels every day as the case unfolds in the courts of India, and in newspapers we read about it. I think people don't know the historical background and the contours of what is it that we are fighting for. Is it something that has just started now, or does this case have a really long historical gestation? And so that conversation really, stirred something inside me that it's almost a historian's burden, or should I say responsibility, to ensure that all these documents need to be illuminated into the public realm. And so I didn't limit myself only to the legalese and the legal history, but drawing from a very vast multitude of sources, which included Puranic resources, Shiva Puran, Linga Puran, Brahma Vaivarta Puran, Skanda Puran, Padma Puran, and all of these, Vayu Puran, and also a lot of Sanskrit Nibandhas, or long format compositions, which spoke about Kashi Mahatmyam and the importance of Vishwanath. Persian and other traveler accounts, right from Al-Baruni, Ibn Battuta, to a French traveler, Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, Peter Mundy, Niccolo Manucci, the Venetian traveler, and, Persian accounts, the chronicles of Aurangzeb, Masire Alamgiri, and all of this, and the legal history of the case. The place was under contestation right from 1810, when bloody riots, called in the colonial records as Lat Bhairo riots in Varanasi. From then onwards, once Awadh passed on to the British administration, the cases have been registered in courts constantly. So it was a Herculean task for me as a historian and writer to piece together, multitude, a very wide range of sources, to piece together a very troubling story of this history of Kashi Vishwanath temple, which we don't realize. Even now we go to the newly furbished Vishwanath corridor, but we don't realize the struggle that our ancestors put at every point in history to reclaim that. Shrines fell, shrines rose, but the Hindus of Kashi never gave up. And that's a story which in itself is so inspiring, at the same time deeply traumatizing.
Let me ask you, you say that Kashi never came into the public conscience as much as maybe the Ram Mandir and the Ayodhya issue came in. What is the reason? Why, after independence, did we not revisit all of these shrines, especially shrines that have been part of the Hindu civilization as we know it, and as we've read about it, and the manner in which it's been chronicled? There is a political side to it, and there is also a societal side to it that has often been referred to as the society did not feel it was a good time to challenge the Mughal rulers. The society did not think that Aurangzeb destroyed these temples on his own. He was actually led on by the Hindu Rajas. So what did you find in your research, and how did you piece the story that you want to tell in this book?
That was more troubling, Navika, actually. And I think the genesis I also trace in one of the chapters to what happened post-independence. Now, till independence, the place was still under contestation. In 1936, there was a Deen Mohammed versus the state case. It was a non-representative suit where the Hindus were not a party. But still, the place was under contestation even in British times. But after independence, and I think what happened in Somnath, the flashpoint, where even, Gandhi was in favor of, Somnath being reconstructed, though through public finances than state exchequer. It was Sardar Patel's vision as well. And K.M. Kanhaiyalal Munshi, who was one of the harbingers of the Somnath movement. All of them had to face the real ire and wrath of Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India. And I document those letters also in this book, where, as we all know, he really prevailed upon even the President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, to not participate in the inauguration of Somnath. And the apprehension is it's going to spawn Hindu revivalism, and it's going to affect the image of his government and the secular credentials both within and outside India. Of course, Rajendra Prasad, disregarded it and went and attended, and came Munshi to writes, and I quote him in the book, where what is the use of freedom if I can't recite my Bhagavad Gita in public? What have we fought for in this long colonial struggle and come for, and so on? So Somnath was somehow rescued, but even Gandhi, when he visited Kashi in 1916, I quote his speech at the Banaras Hindu University, where he says this place is full of squalor and dirt, and this is called the soul of Hinduism. But if this is what it represents, what will someone coming from the outside think of us as a nation? So we need to do something to resurrect the place, was Gandhiji's vision as well. But all of that, I think, was step-sided by Nehru and in his misguided, pursuit of secularism, where I've said this repeatedly, that for Nehru, I think a break from the past and having at best a very tenuous relationship with it, that was what he looked for. He would perhaps have asked the ASI to revive Somnath Mandir and made it into a museum. The past as a fossilized unit rather than a living Hindu tradition, which somewhere deeply made him feel insecure. And the ripple effect of that was, Yatha Raja Tatha Praja. So, you had the intelligentsia of the time, the historians, the scholars, the media, the popular culture, all towing this narrative itself. And so you have historians of the time, and that was more deeply disturbing for me as a historian to discover, Congress-inspired leaders and historians spreading such lies and canards about Kashi Vishwanath and the reasons for its demolition.
So are you saying this is deliberate?
Subterfuge.
By the Congress party?
Of course, it is. I would certainly say that, because, and look at the outcome of that, Navika. All the major pilgrim centers of North India, whether it was Kashi, Mathura, Gaya, Prayag, Ayodhya, of course, a separate case, languished in such dirt and squalor, quite like what Gandhiji had said while he saw it. Forget even the spiritual part of it. Even from an angle of spiritual tourism, if the government had thought that, it would bring some amount of benefits, not only to the city, but also to the people, no connectivity, no airports have now started coming in Ayodhya and other places, no hotels, nothing to stay, utter dirt and filth. That's how we would rather have these places languish. Instead, we would have all these people, why build a temple? Instead, let's build a hospital or a school and all of that. To all those people who are seeing what's happening in Ayodhya now, a hospital or a school would not have brought as much prosperity. There's
a deep anger that you seem to express, as a thread in the book. You write, in case of the Kashi Vishwanath temple, the Advocate Commissioner survey of 2022 showed how the Shivlinga was being defiled diurnally by people washing their dirty feet and mouths over it before their prayers. What can be more humiliating and insulting to a fellow Indian and her faith? And the defiance to rubbish it all as fanciful myths and figments of imagination, or disparage it by terming it as a fountain and not as a linga, certainly does no good for communal amity either. Anger really in the manner in which this entire issue's been left on the back burner?
Not, I wouldn't say anger. I think it's angst, and really annoyance that, in the case of Ayodhya, people kept saying, there's no evidence, where's the evidence, it's not there. In the case of Kashi, Hath Kangan ko RC kya, you don't need a report or a survey. You have the western walls, the Kandahar, which are remains of a temple. And that was done deliberately by Aurangzeb, so that, if he or his subordinates wanted, they could have destroyed the entire temple and constructed a magnificent mosque in its place. But they deliberately kept the, exteriors of the old temple, which was built by Narayan Bhatt in the 1580s with Raja Todarmal's support, so that daily that could be an element of insult and humiliation for the Hindus, that our most sacred Jyotirlinga site is lying in this manner, where it's been demolished and only the shikhars have been broken, and in its place 3 gumbads have been illegally constructed. So it was that at those times. Now, after the case caught momentum, there were 2 civil suits, one in 1991, which was filed on behalf of Adi Vishweshwar as the owner of the spot, and the other one in 2021 by the 5 women who wanted to worship Shringar Gauri at the western exterior of the mosque. And then that led to so many twists and turns. We had the Advocate Commissioner survey, which showed certain things, the structure which most of us believe it is a shivling, which again the ASI survey with 800 pages of detailed information for everyone who's gone through the ASI report, using the latest technology, ground penetrating radar, differential global positioning system, X-ray fluorescence spectrometer, handheld X-ray fluorescence spectrometer. All these are modern technologies which were used to see what lay under the substructures, the broken idols of Hindu gods, the inscriptions right from the 12th to 17th centuries in various languages, Devanagari, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and all these languages. After all this evidence, if still people, of the masjid, the supporters say, no, we will not believe this, the ASI is also Hindutva. A GPR survey cannot be Hindutva oriented. It's a science technology which is religion agnostic and independent. So, what will convince anybody? Does Aurangzeb need to come out of his tomb and then proclaim himself that, yes, I did break this?
Well said. And in the meantime, this book, Unearthing the Truth of Kashi's Gyanvapi, Waiting for Shiva, by Vikram Sampath, helps us retrace the facts and discover our civilization and the truth behind it. What do you think about it? Do write us back, and we'll convey all of those messages to Vikram Sampath. Thank you very much, Vikram, for joining me on this very special episode of something which is buried in history, but just so contemporary even today. The Gyanvapi mosque or mandir. Where should we leave it? We leave it at that.
Thank you, Navika.